Hi, I'm Malvika Muthukumaran. I'm a speech language pathologist and a staunch believer of inclusion. And to me, inclusion is the most beautiful form of the way a society can be. Inclusion, although is a very commonly used word, is very abstract when it comes to implementation. What do you mean by inclusion? Who are we including here? What are we including here? Right? Sticking to my jurisdiction, I'm going to be talking about inclusion of disabilities and in specific inclusion of the neurodivergent population. So maybe because I'm going to be speaking at length about inclusion of the neurodivergent, let me clarify what is neurodivergence. Yeah? Neurodivergence, in simple words, is just a different wiring of the brain. A brain that is uncommon, a brain that is not typical, a brain that the world sees differently, but a brain that sees the world differently too. Empyrean, a vision beyond stars. To me, an inclusive society is a very, very beautiful vision, a vision beyond stars. Like the stars, it feels like it is way out of reach. But like the stars on the sky, it is a very, very beautiful sight. Here are a bunch of diagnostic labels, maybe because that's more familiar these days, isn't it? Neurodivergence is an umbrella term which includes autism, ADHD, dyslexia, learning disability, OCD, ADD, and so on and so forth. But are these really rare? Let's get to that soon. But before we begin, there's a very important point of clarification that it is contrary to popular belief, neurodivergent individuals are different, not less. Let's get more into this now. People of this neurotype, people who have neurodivergent brains, are different structurally and functionally in their brain functioning. They're very different, but they're not less. Their development, communication, socialization, independent living, all of that could go either of the two ways. They are either delayed or they're deviant. Either way, they're different, not less. Some neurodivergent individuals look different, but almost all of them behave differently. They're different, but they're not less. But are they really uncommon? Are we talking about a very rare phenomenon here? That neurodivergence is something that you have not seen before? No. Because after all, it is a new fad on the internet, right? A celebrity announces that they're autistic and suddenly it is the talk of the town. After hearing the news, some people willingly box themselves into dyslexics and those who are having dyslexia because they had academic difficulties. A time management issue is very, very glorified and loosely used term as ADHD. Being a creature of habit is now jokingly OCD. We've heard this, right? I'm sure you've heard it, yes. But what we are finding to be very different from what we are supposed to be understanding from this is this. Celebrities talking about it should gain more traction to the subject, right? It should now bring to the forefront that dyslexia and any other neurodivergence or autism should be something that we all should be aware of. It should be something that we all should be aware of and be raising awareness towards. Something that is invisible to the naked eye is suddenly brought to the forefront. But is this neurodivergence? No. In my humble opinion, and having a minor advantage of working with neurodivergent and their families day in and day out, neurodivergence is neurodivergence when it affects the activity, participation, communication, and development of the individuals. Imagine those who break a leg but call themselves physically disabled. Sounds absurd, right? It is true that neurodivergence is very, very convoluted. And to judge and predict yourself to be neurodivergent with just one symptom on display is very reductive, and it takes away the struggles that neurodivergence comes with to especially live and function in a society that is not inclusive yet. So what is inclusion? Is it just tangible support? I struggle, I grapple to understand that for some of us, most of us, that inclusion means tangible support only. We have wheelchairs, we have ramps, we provide free screening, we have sign language interpreters. Because as much as I'm extremely happy and grateful for the basic support and recognition that we're giving towards physical disabilities, I'm worried about this huge section of society that we're becoming oblivious to just because they don't look disabled. So coming back to my previous question, is inclusion just tangible support? Because inclusion is a mindset. Inclusion is meeting the child where they are at instead of expecting where they should be. Instead of expecting them to come up to the level where we think they should be. Inclusion is saying, hey, I was wrong. Inclusion is saying, now that I know better, I will do better. Inclusion is challenging our perspectives about what is normal, what is right, what is accepted, and what is typical. Inclusion, oh, the most precious of it all. Inclusion is showing it in actions that you are inclusive. I now want to tell you about my conversational experiences with families that I've sat with day in and day out, which has led me to my mindset and my perspectives about inclusion and the dire need for inclusion in our society. This loosely translates to, one would say, the sound of the harp is very, very melodious, and the sound of the flute is very, very sweet to the ears. But these are the ones who have not heard their children speak. I thought these lines from the Tamil classic Tirukkural is a very good representation of what a joyous experience it is for parents to see their children grow up and see them learn to develop, learn their speech and language and their communication. It's beautiful. Those half-swallowed words and a child learning to imitate adult mannerisms is truly a sight to behold and a sound to cherish. But do all parents get to experience this? Do all parents experience this beautiful experience of witnessing their child develop? No, not all. So when parents asked me during all my sittings with them, when will my child start speaking, I gave them a very right analogy, that speech is like the fruit in the tree. What does that mean? It means that it is the last to develop. For neurotypical children or the normal children, this fruit is available from the get-go. You can see it even while they're developing. It's there. You can see it. You can grab it. You can devour it, enjoy it, and see this beautiful experience of them getting to the stage of producing the fruit. But for neurodivergent individuals and children, this is not the typical pattern of development. It is different. But what we are forgetting is speech is just another skill set that a child acquires over a period of time, which requires a whole lot of prerequisites, mind you. It requires a whole lot of prerequisites and milestones to be developed before they get to the stage of speaking. But was this analogy enough for parents? No. I'll tell you what happened next. When I graduated from my master's in speech pathology with a university gold medal, I thought I knew it all. Until I sat with families of children with disabilities day in and day out, only to find out that I knew nothing but mere facts about autism and any other neurodivergence. I thought parent empowerment is the key. I thought if I made the parent understand their children, their own children who they saw as a jigsaw puzzle, I would have succeeded. I would have cracked the code. So I came up with another analogy. This analogy, where I tell them that raising a normal child or a neurotypical child is like learning how to drive a Swift car. We all know how to drive a Swift car, those who know to drive. Okay, those who want to be parents. Just drawing the bad words here. Learning how to drive a Swift car is something that we have a baseline for. There are courses. There are YouTube videos. We've seen our sister's son develop. We've seen our sister parent a child. Our brother-in-law parent the child. We've seen that aunt do it. We've seen our parents do it. Sure, we have a baseline. But raising a child, a neurodivergent child, a child on the spectrum is like learning how to drive a Tesla. You have no idea. What is the baseline? And where do I compare this with? How do I open this car? How do I get into this car? How do I drive this car? Because it's a whole different world. I thought I nailed this analogy. But was this enough? No. Because the questions continued. The questions continued repeatedly where they asked me, but when is my child going to start speaking? Okay, tell me, when is my child going to start communicating what they want? When are they going to tell me when they are in pain? When are they going to tell me that they are hurt? Or they're hungry? Or they're thirsty? Or that they don't want to be in this environment? I zoomed out a little bit and I understood that every question, every single doubt that every parent had was just a disguise for one thing. What about my child after me? I'm here to do it all for my child. But what about my child after me? I, as one speech language pathologist, will go above and beyond to make sure that every child that I encounter with in my life will be given a voice to communicate, will be given a means to communicate, to not just live, but to thrive in our society. I will take it up as my life's mission. But will that suffice? No. Will it suffice if another 100 service delivery professionals think like me? No. Will it suffice if 1,000 different service delivery professionals think like me? No. Because what we've been giving parents and families of children with neurodivergence are perfectly crafted and curated treatment plans. We've been giving that very well for decades together now. But what they need is holistic societal change. What they need is inclusion. We need inclusion. We need inclusion so bad that we need to remember that it is not a choice, it is the way forward. That is how I understood the importance of inclusion. That no textbook could give. That no faculty member could provide. That no amount of article and research papers could tell us. Not even working with children. Because I happily playing with you. But just sit once with a parent of a child that's neurodivergent. You would understand the importance of inclusion. The very, very dire need for inclusion right now. How does one show in actions that they're inclusive? This is a very, very tough question. It's a very tough question because it's a lot like answering what is love. What is love? Is there a standard definition for love? No. Sure, enough research has happened for us to identify the different languages of love. Some like gift giving, some like physical touch, some like acts of service, some like words of affirmation. But is it one size fits all? No. It takes a good amount of time, effort, and interest from the person opposite of us to love us, to understand what our love languages are, and love us that way. Inclusion is a lot like that. Inclusion as a mindset is a lot like love. Inclusion on a philosophical level is love. Inclusion is tangible support sometimes, yes. But inclusion could mean so many other things for a neurodivergent child. Inclusion is extra time in examinations. Inclusion sometimes means dropping certain subjects. Inclusion sometimes means doing away with examinations. Inclusion means to not look at the scores of the child as a reflection of intelligence, but looking at the aptitude of the child. Inclusion is navigating weaknesses through strengths and not getting stuck on the weaknesses. Inclusion is honoring every single form of communication. A child could be communicating via just pointing. A child could be communicating through picture exchange communication systems. A child could be communicating via a device which serves as their voice. And it is important for us to be honoring all of that. Inclusion is not judging a child in the airport who is crying and wailing because of a sensory meltdown. Inclusion is not staring at them. Inclusion is not looking at the parent and thinking, wow, they have no grip over that child. I will raise my child like that. Inclusion is making perfectly curated accommodations during birthday parties, get-togethers, weddings, annual day functions, and whatnot. Instead of saying, hey, I wish you could come, but I would understand if you can't make it because of your son or daughter. Inclusion is equality. Inclusion is equity. It is not a level playing field. Inclusion is giving the child what they want, not what you think they want. Inclusion is so tailor-made. It is so unique. But it is so achievable. Maybe what I spoke earlier was a lot to remember, so I'm going to make this easier for you. To develop inclusion as a mindset is to develop empathy as a mindset. All you need to do is ask. Ask, how can I help? Because they're longing to tell you. They're longing to tell you, the parent is longing to tell you how their child needs to be included. The individual, a neurodivergent individual, is longing to tell you how they want to be included. They're longing to enjoy the simple pleasures of life with just a little bit more support. I'm always in awe of things that slip out of our mouths during a conversation. And in one such conversation with a friend, I understood what a huge privilege it is to say, I don't know. I don't know means you never had to go through the consequence of not knowing it. I don't know to cook because I never had to cook a day in my life. I don't know about reservations, maybe because you belong to sex of society that does not have their life depend on it. I don't know to be inclusive means you've not encountered with a parent of a child that's neurodivergent. And if you've not, I urge you to sit with them, have a conversation with them, because it is truly life-changing. It is humble. I have now come to the conclusion that we all live in the same city, same neighborhood, everything is the same. But we live in a whole different world. A world that is neither designed for their child, nor is supportive of it. A world that stares at the parent and the child irrespective of where they go. A world that is constantly asking them, so when is your child going to be normal? A world that is wanting to institutionalize children who need to be included. Let's remember a small actionable plan to be more inclusive. Let's remember this acronym A, B, C, D, E. Easy, right? Assume competence, benevolent curiosity, care with kindness. Remember that they're different, not less. Empathy above all. We've come to the end of this speech, And I think I've established myself once again in trying to convince you all that an inclusive society is a vision beyond the stars. I hope this speech alchemizes all our efforts to turn our small steps into a marathon. We're getting there. We're getting to an inclusive society. Soon. Very soon. Thank you.